Question 2. 8 marks, but to 10 minutes. Aqa Paper. 1 questions. 2 language. Here is the text we will use. Vendetta. On the white mountain, the houses, massed together, makes an even whiter spot. They look like the nests of wild birds, clinging to this peak, overlooking this terrible passage, where vessels rarely venture. The wind, which blows uninterruptedly, has swept bare the forbidding coast. It drives through the narrow straits and lays waste both sides. The pale streaks of foam, clinging to the black rocks, whose countless peaks rise up out of the water, look like bits of rag floating and drifting on the surface of the sea. The house of Widow Savarini, clinging to the very edge of the precipice, looks out, through its 3 windows, over this wild and desolate picture. Question 2, 8 marks to 10 minutes. Question. Use lines 8 to 15. How does the writer use language to describe the setting? You could include the writer's choice of words and phrases, language features and techniques, sentence forms, teacher note. Instruction for students. When you answer question 2, make sure you use that list to guide you. Pick out a word or phrase and explain why it's effective. Identify a technique such as personification or repetition. Comment on a sentence form, like a short sentence or a list, and how it impacts the reader. Using all 3 shows a full understanding of the writer's methods and helps you reach higher marks. Note for students, how to prepare before you write. Question 2. Before you start writing, take 1 minute to get organized. This will help you focus only on the part of the text that matters. Underline key words in the question. Focus on what you're being asked to do. For example, in How does the writer use language to describe the setting? Underline language and describe the setting. This reminds you to focus on how it's written, not what happens. Read that section carefully. Underline words or phrases linked to the question. In this case, details that describe the setting. Sounds, colours, feelings, or weather. Spot techniques in that section. Look for things like repetition, imagery, personification, sentence patterns, or themes such as isolation or danger. Decide your opinion, your point. After highlighting your evidence, decide what the writer is showing overall. That opinion becomes your first sentence when you start writing. Why this helps? It narrows your focus, saves time, and makes it easier to spot techniques clearly, so your answer is sharper and more confident. Now, let's get back to the question. Let's look at how to answer question 2 using a vendetta. This question is about how the writer's language shapes the setting and how it makes the reader feel. And the secret is writing a strong, detailed point. Step 1. Write a full point with 2 or 3 describing words. Your first sentence should be your own opinion. It needs to include 2 or 3 adjectives or ideas so you can develop it properly later. Think, what does the setting feel like overall? Example. The writer presents the setting as lonely, dangerous, and unforgiving, making the reader feel uneasy and aware of nature's power. That one sentence already gives you 3 directions to explore: loneliness, danger, and harshness. Step 2. Add evidence. Now pick your first short quote to back up one of those adjectives. Example. For example, the writer describes the sea as a terrible passage. Step 3. Explain and show reader impact. Explain how the language proves your point and how it makes the reader react. Example. The adjective terrible shows that the sea is violent and threatening. This makes the reader imagine crashing waves and feel anxious for anyone living near such danger. Step 4. Repeat evidence and explanation for each part of your point. Go back to your point and choose another adjective or idea from it, then repeat the pattern with a new quote. Example. The writer also uses the phrase, wild wind blows uninterruptedly. The adverb, uninterruptedly, suggests constant struggle and isolation. It makes the reader sense how exhausting and lonely this life must be, cut off from calm or comfort. Then move to your third adjective if you can. Example. The description of the sea as forbidding adds to this idea of harshness, showing a place that rejects human warmth. The reader feels both admiration and fear. The land is beautiful, but it doesn't welcome you. Step 5. Link back. Finish your paragraph by summing up how all these ideas combine and what overall feeling the reader is left with. Example. Overall, Maupassant's language makes the setting seem wild, lonely, and relentless, leaving the reader with respect for the people who managed to survive there. Template to memorize. Point. The writer presents the setting as 3 adjectives, which makes the reader feel. Evidence 1. For example, oh. Explain 1. This suggests. This makes the reader. Evidence. 2. The writer also uses. Explain 2. This shows. This makes the reader. Optional. Third, add a final quote and explanation. Link back. Overall, the language makes the reader feel. Exam tips. Always make a multi-layered point with 2 or 3 ideas or adjectives. Each idea gives you 1 chunk of evidence and explanation. Always include how it impacts the reader, every time. 2 or 3 short, powerful quotes are enough if they're fully explained. Quality of explanation matters more than the number of techniques. Good luck!